As the Heritage Foundation Chief Economist, E.J. Antoni. E.J., it's always great to have you. Friday, he comes back hard at China with higher tariffs. Over the weekend, he's trying to calm everybody's fears. Generally, when he says, don't worry, I believe him. Do you in this situation? I see two very strong leaders, as he suggests, who are both jockeying to put their toughest position up when these negotiations begin because they know it's going to be a difficult fight.
Exactly, Jackie. You're talking about essentially the two economic superpowers of the world, right? Having a kind of modern-day Cold War, if you will. But I think the thing we got to remember with China, and it's different from when we negotiate with the EU or with England or countries in South America, et cetera, is the fact that China is very much a different beast. They don't abide by any agreements. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Look at the trade deals that they signed with previous presidents, including President Trump in the first term. They have abided by not a single one of those trade deals. They always end up stabbing their so-called partners in the back. And so I think that's why the president has to constantly be dealing with them essentially with a kind of sledgehammer, be that rhetorical or literal.
And I noted last week, China only accounts for, it's now, I think, less than 12% of all of our trade. And that amount has been cut in half since President Trump's first term in office in 2018. So China...
Salakia, I got to hear what she said again.
Less than 12%. China only accounts for, it's now, I think, less than 12% of all of our trade. And that amount has been cut in half since President Trump's first term in office in 2018. So China is still a threat because of the critical materials and minerals that it controls. However, not as much of a threat. And we do have anvils that we can slam our other trading partners with. Say, Brazil, why are you why are you taking food out of the mouths of our farmers by selling soybeans to China? Like, put the hammer down on them.
Well, and what we see with nations like Brazil that you mentioned, or Dagan, you can look at Canada, you can look at Mexico, all these different nations, the United States almost universally has more leverage than they do. In other words, if we do get into some kind of drawn-out trade war, yes, nobody wins in a trade war, everybody loses, right? But they lose more than we do. And President Trump realizes that he has that kind of leverage in these negotiations, which is how he's able to one after another keep hammering out trade deals. Yes, I know it takes some time. Yes, I know it roils markets for a while, but so far the strategy has been working. It has shown some pretty significant results. And the more you get all those other countries, all those ducks in a row, the more you isolate China, and that ultimately, I think, is what forces them to the table.
EJ, I want to get to this. In the Wall Street Journal, JP Morgan to invest $10 billion in U.S. companies that have a critical interest in national security. We were talking about the Alaska deal with respect to mining and minerals and the government's stake of roughly $35 million. Dagan and I are not huge fans of the government stake aspect. We say roll back the regulations, let private enterprise do this. We understand national security interests. This is more of what Wall Street would be looking for private companies, not the government, to be helping to bolster our security interests.
Yeah, Jackie, I think you make a really great point. There are very limited cases where a public-private partnership is going to be fruitful. More often than not, what you need is simply to roll back the taxes and the regulations that are preventing those industries from thriving in the first place. Now, fortunately, I think you're getting the carrot and stick approach from this administration. I think you are getting both and, so that's a good thing. We're also now seeing, though, private actors. Look at Jamie Dimon today with JP Morgan. It's reminiscent of the 1907 panic, where you had Pierpont Morgan stepping in and doing something that was not only very profitable for his own firm, but frankly was patriotic. We are now seeing private actors wanting to reshore all of this industry, this critical industry and critical supply chains to the United States.
Couldn't he do more than $10 billion? JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, come on. You can put more money than that in there. And all the like ATM fees and credit card interest that they screw their customers over, they can put more money than that in America, can't they? I say that as somebody who got hung up on 3
Are
times.
you asking me or you're asking me?
I got hung up on 3 times on the phone intentionally by Chase reps. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be closing my accounts. Thank you very much. I'm just saying that there's always a reason why they're doing it, and I don't know if it's in the best interest of the United States of America. J.P. Morgan, at least.
I think this might be one of those occasions where the interests are aligned.
Okay.
So that's what it seems like, at least.
Aren't you the diplomat? I love it.
Profitable and patriotic. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, at least if the government's not taking a stake in the venture, I'm fine with that. Thank you so much, EJ. It's terrific to see you.
The government.
EJ said China is a different beast, man. And the scriptures agree with that. Let me start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. It's your brother Rabbi Knapp coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, edifying to the Lord's elect. Psalm 60:8, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. Okay, so Moab being a different type of beast is because the Lord's using him as a washpot. Let's look this up, because Psalm 60:8 is a declaration of God's sovereignty and future victory, where he states, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, shout thou because of me. The verse uses idioms of conquest, with Moab becoming a low servant, a washpot for feet, and Edom being subjugated by having a shoe thrown upon it, symbolizing complete dominion and possession. Moab is my washpot, the conquering nation, represented by God, will use Moab as a simple basin for washing feet, demonstrating its utter subjugation and insignificance. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Casting a shoe upon a conquered land or person was a symbolic act of taking possession and exercising dominion. Philistia, shout thou because of me. This line indicates that the Philistines will triumph because of God's power, celebrating his victory over their enemies, over their own enemies. Okay, so the Lord is using Moab as a washpot to wash out who? Esau, Edom. Okay, he's going to use him because all this money that he owes, he's using that to manipulate. In the news article I just saw, he was talking from a standpoint that Duck got leverage over Moab, but it's actually the opposite. Okay, scriptures tell you that the borrower is subject to the lender. Proverbs 22. I think it's Proverbs 22, and I can't remember where that's at. As a matter of fact, let me find it. The borrower is subject to the, you gonna let me say it, or is subject to the lender. Proverbs 18, Proverbs 22 and 7, couldn't find it. Proverbs 22 and 7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay, so if he wanted his money, when he calls for his money, there's a video when you watch it. The price of I forgot how the video. Let me see if I can find it. As a matter of fact, they explain it well. It's a small cartoon. If China took their money back from America, what would happen? America's 37. Look at that. This is 8 hours ago. They're already talking about this. That's the spirit. China stocks drop as trade war drags on. China to show. There's a video. It explained it perfectly. It was like a cartoon. This might be it. Let me see. I don't know if I can use their videos or not. But I can't find the video that I'm talking about. Is this it? No. It was like a cartoon or something. But it explained it perfectly. That pretty much China gets screwed, but at the same time, the price of everything would skyrocket, and pretty much it would. Long story short, it would destroy America, man, from the inside out, man. You know, you want to be able to afford anything, you'd be screwed. You know, so the leverage is on China's side. He might think that's why he's saying, "Oh, you know, you're gonna have to work with me and blah blah blah," but no one's gonna want to work with you because it's gonna be too much for this place to bear. Okay, either people are already losing their jobs now, and then they're supposed to suffer what? An economy that's gonna constantly, everything's gonna cost more, and you don't even have the infrastructure to replace Chinese labor. So what does that look like? It looks like a totalitarian state where everyone takes an MOTB device, and whoever doesn't take it, you're screwed, and whoever does take it, you're gonna be all right for a little bit, then you're gonna be destroyed. Okay, so that's what that looks like in order to not mess with Chinese labor. So that that's not a form of leverage. Even though you might be able to get people to do this, it's not gonna look good. It's not gonna look good, man. You know, I wish I had the words to explain it economically, but I just don't. But that's what he's gonna be using Moab, which is the so-called Chinese man, is to pretty much economically affect Babylon, if that makes any sense, because you're a servant. So Esau, all the debt is from everyone American debt. That's his real leverage is the American people, using them as collateral for the debt that he owes somebody else. That's the real leverage he has. It's not against the person who's lending him, who he owes the money to. That's not just like it says in Proverbs 22:7. And the borrower is servant to the lender. If you owe China all this money, you're a servant to him. He's not gonna be a servant because he's thinking of you being the servant. He gonna turn that on you. That's why he don't want to get rid of your student loans. That's why he's building up these jail systems and all of that. Okay, because if you don't get down with his plan, you gotta pay. He ain't gonna pay for it. He ain't gonna pay because when it's time for him to pay, you gonna try to come up against him, and that's when he gonna pull the sword out. That's when wrath coming, man. So this video is on that. This dude right here, he's on it. He knows something. This dude right here, Graham Stefan. Trump versus China. America's 37 trillion reset is coming. Do this now. He's on to something. I'm gonna have to watch him. 8 hours ago, U.S. futures rise after Trump signals openness to China deal. Bloomberg Asia trade. China stocks drop as trade war drags on. Now, their stocks might drop, but they already China stocks are in the negative. So they already, the way they price their stocks is as if they incorporate the hit already into the stock. Unlike America, our stocks are fully inflated. You know, like if it takes a hit, he gotta artificially keep it up there. In all actuality, our stocks should match the other country's stocks, but ours is inflated. People act like Tesla is so great that it brought so much prosperity to America or something. You know, TikTok and all this bullshit. You can't eat TikTok when the food goes out. You can't drink Facebook, and they don't bring nothing. They really have no value, no intrinsic value. Let's look that word up, intrinsic. Define intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is likely a misspelling of intrinsic value, okay, which is the perceived or calculated true value of an asset. Exactly, the calculated true value of an asset. When When can you live or die without it? Without Tesla vehicles, were you living? Were you all right? Yeah, you don't need any of this stuff. Oh, I need a lock that has a sensor in it so I can unlock my door. You know, or I just need a brain chip so I can play chess with just my brain. Like none of this shit has any value. You know, you could do without it. You know, I just gotta go to Whole Foods and scan my right hand. You know, I need a cell phone that scans my retina. Like none of this is valuable to you. Okay, but he creates a situation where you think that you need it when you really don't. So that's what I'm trying to say. I just want to look up this word, intrinsic value, which is the perceived or calculated true value of an asset, such as a stock, independent of its current market price. Yeah, stock independent of its current market price. You know, you look at, I'm trying to see a stock that might benefit you. You know, now if you were mass producing some type of pharmaceutical companies, that has some intrinsic value because you need insulin. You need, these are things that you need. You need, what do you call it? Some type of antibiotic, things like that. You know, those will bring value to the people. You know, but all this other stuff, pretty much the majority of what's keeping the stock market up doesn't have really any intrinsic value. Independent of its current market price, it represents a company's fundamental worth based on its underlying financial health and future prospects rather than market sentiment and speculation. Investors use various methods like the discounted cash flow model to calculate it and determine if a stock is undervalued or overvalued. Our stocks are overvalued, and there's gonna be a stock market correction because them shits is gonna go to zero. Ultimately, there's no real value in AI technology, man. All it's here to do is take away. When you look at it from a macroscopic view, you can see that it's gonna make you stupider. You're gonna be less. There's no need for you. Okay, it's pretty much taking all your place of your position of what you're supposed to be doing down here. He gonna have you sleeping, marrying robot dolls and shit like that. You see what social media does to men and women and how they get along. You know, people are more. How can I put it? Antisocial in some ways, I guess. You know, women, you go talk to a woman now and she'll think you're crazy if you just say hi to her and try to get her number or something, man. You'll look like a damn creep. That's because of social media. It wasn't always like that, man. You used to go pull up to a chick, even if she denied you, she still kind of like, didn't think you were super weird. She might have not liked you, but, it was different then. Now it's like, it's just like kind of taboo a little bit, depending on who you're talking to. What else? A tool for investors. Value investors use intrinsic value to identify potential opportunities where stock's market price is lower than its calculated true worth. So that's what I mean by intrinsic value. And the Lord is using the so-called Chinese man to do that. Okay? To have him, bring him to the table. He might come back and say, yeah, I'm doing great with him, I'm going to bring him to the table. But that's not what Moab's telling his people. Moab, what is he doing? He's working with Brazil. They were talking about Brazil and how he's taking the soybeans away from them. Why? Because he knows you want that. So look, why don't I buy all the shit he needs so he has to come to me to get it? So leverage where? Ain't no damn leverage, man. okay? You putting 100, it was really 130% tariffs. Eventually, who's going to pay for that? You guys are. You're not bringing Moab to the table, man. The Lord's bringing you to the table through Moab. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. And they were talking about a transfer, a possession. When you go to the book of Ruth, what did he say in Ruth? Ruth, I think it's the 4th chapter. Not the marriage of Ruth. Boaz will redeem Ruth. He takes off his shoe in order to buy a piece of land. It was a transfer of power. Okay. I can't find it. Somewhere in there. Boaz takes off his shoe. KJV. Boaz takes off his shoe to purchase land. KJV. Where is that? In the King James Version of the Bible, Boaz does not take off his shoe to purchase land, but rather the closest kinsman redeemer does, as a symbolic act of relinquishing his right to buy the land. The kinsman says to Boaz, "Buy it for thee," and then he drew off his shoe as a public and legal confirmation of his transfer of ownership, following the ancient custom in Israel for such transactions. Where is that? That's what I'm looking for. Search this. Ruth chapter 4 and 8. Thank you. Ruth chapter 4. I'm going to start at the top. Ruth 4 and 1. Then went Boaz up to the gate and sat him down there, and behold, a kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, "Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here." And he turned aside and sat down. Let me just grab this, get a recap of what's going on here. Ruth 4 and 1 described Boaz going to the city gate to conduct a legal transaction. While there, the redeemer or close relative of Elimelech passes by. Boaz stops him and takes the man aside to discuss the legal matter of Elimelech's land and the responsibility to marry Ruth. So the point of, when you read about the story of Ruth, and I forgot the lady's name, but Elimelech died, okay, leaving his wife in, as a matter of fact, let's look it up. Who was Elimelech? Elimelech is a descendant of the tribe of Judah. Elimelech is a biblical figure mentioned in the book of Ruth. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, Elimelech is a descendant of the tribe of Judah and was the husband of Naomi, that's her name, and the father of Machalon and Shilon. The family lived in Bethlehem, Judea. Due to famine, Elimelech and his family left the land of Israel and settled in Moab, where he died. His children, Machalon and Chion, married two Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. When Elimelech's two sons later died, Naomi and Ruth returned to Bethlehem. Ruth later married Boaz, a relative of Elimelech. So Elimelech, then his sons died, and Ruth was married to one of Elimelech's sons, and they died. So she joined Naomi, which was Elimelech's wife, to come back to Bethlehem. And Elimelech, being an Israelite, had land there. Okay, so when it comes to Ruth 4:1, the marriage of Ruth, this is what it's going down to, because if he died and his sons died, then the next closest kinsman, let's look at this word, kinsman. may have rights to that land that he has in Israel that they left because there was a famine. To redeem, act as a kinsman redeemer, revenge, ransom to part of a kinsman. To act as kinsman, do the part of next of kin, act as kinsman redeemer, by marrying brother's widow to beget a child for him, to redeem from slavery, to redeem land, to exact vengeance, to redeem by payment. Let's look at this word kinsman. It just means family, but I just want to look it up. A man who is one of a person's blood relations. Okay, so that's who Boaz ran into. And who was Boaz? Fleetness, ancestor of David, kinsman, redeemer to Ruth, daughter-in-law of Naomi, name of the left of the two brazen pillars, 18 cubits high, erected in the porch of Solomon's temple. So he's an ancestor of David, which I think this is his grandfather. Let me just double check. I think Boaz is King David's grandfather. Is Boaz King David's grandfather or great-grandfather? No, Boaz was not King David's grandfather. He was King David's great-grandfather. Okay. My bad. This is great-grandfather. Boaz's son with Ruth was Obed. Well, okay, so that would be his grandfather. Obed would be his grandfather, who was the grandfather of Jesse. So, hold on. If his father's Jesse, his father's father would be his grandfather, right? And Jesse was the father of King David. Khan. Okay, so, I just don't want to misspeak about some of these things. Boaz's relationship to Elimelech. Boaz was a relative of Elimelech, though their exact relationship is not specified, with sources suggesting they were either brothers or cousins. As a kinsman redeemer, Boaz was in a position to marry Ruth, Elimelech's widowed daughter-in-law, and use his wealth and status to secure the family's inheritance. Close relative, Boaz was a kinsman of Elimelech. Boaz's father was Salmon, and Elimelech and Salmon were brothers. So Elimelech would be his uncle. Kinsman redeemer. As a close relative, Boaz had the right and responsibility to act as a kinsman redeemer for Elimelech's widow and property. Role in the story, Boaz fulfilled this role by marrying Ruth, which revived Elimelech's lineage and secured the family's inheritance. Significance, this union was crucial because it secured the family line and property, and their son Obed became the grandfather of King David, placing them in the lineage of Yahushua. So this was huge, man. Especially later down the line, but the point is in verse 8. Ruth 4:2, and he took 10 men of elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down, and he said unto the kinsman Naomi, that is come out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother's Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, for there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, because Elimelech died and his sons. So if he marries her, being part of that family line, that lineage can continue through Boaz and Ruth. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. I don't want to get too far into this, but I need to know the story. It's a verse in the Bible where the kinsman redeemer tells Boaz he cannot redeem Naomi's land in the associated family rights because doing so would ruin his own inheritance. He then gives his right. How does that ruin his own inheritance? Does he have to forfeit whatever he has going on to take over that land? They don't really say, so that's what I'm thinking. He might have already had land appointed to him that he couldn't redeem land, and do anything with it. He then gives his right to redeem to Boaz. This is a pivotal moment to Book of Ruth, which leads to Boaz marrying Ruth and continuing her family line. So the kinsman redeemer, so he would be next in line to redeem the land, but he couldn't. So he gave it to Boaz, who gave him the option, which is someone that's in his family, not some other heathen, someone that's, he would be next after him probably. He cannot redeem Naomi's land and the associated family rights because doing so would ruin his own inheritance. Ruth 4:7. Now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to confirm all things. A man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Ruth 4:7 describes an ancient Israeli legal custom. This is fucking bullshit, man. Legal custom where a man took off his sandal and gave it to another to confirm a legal transaction, such as the redemption of land or a widow. This public symbolic act served as a legally binding confirmation in Israel, demonstrating the transfer of rights and possession, much like signing a contract today. So, over Edom will I cast off my shoe, talking about its land for being a possession. Okay, there's a transfer of rights in possession. Okay, and ultimately that transfer of rights and possessions, according to prophecy, is this land is Edom would be America. Okay, because that's where he dwells, and that is going to be transferred over and destroyed. He's going to transfer it over to destruction, and ultimately his actual land is going to go over to Judah. I'm kind of all over the place, but when you read the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and verse 19, it says, "And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau," talking about Judah, "and they of the plain of the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead." Okay, let's look this up. Obadiah 1:18 prophesies a future restoration and expansion of Israel, stating that people from the Negev will occupy the mountains of Edom. The descendants of Esau, people from the foothills, will take over the Philistine plains, and the tribe of Benjamin will possess the region of Gilead. This verse is part of a broader prophecy in Obadiah about Israel's future restoration and victory over its enemies like Edom and the Philistines, as part of a divine act of judgment and fulfillment of God's promises. So this is another way of showing you, over Edom will I cast off my shoe, giving his land as a possession. Okay, the Negev will possess the mountains of Esau. This refers to the people from the Negev desert region in southern Judah. taking control of the territory of Edom, named after Esau, Jacob's brother and the ancestor of the Edomites. So that's twofold, you know, because yes, the land, there's going to be an enlargement of the land when Israel, well, Judah specifically, because Judah's the head tribe, and they've been the most demolished and disrespected because of that. Okay, because they're the head, man. That's who Esau claims to be. He don't even claim to be anybody from the Northern Kingdom. He just wants to be Judah, man, so badly. You know, he just, because the Lord, ultimately it's because the Lord, you know, King David. As a matter of fact, I got a video. This is how they think, man. This is them. It says they are animals. The non-Jews are animals, beasts. It is written. It is not written here. It is written. You are right. It is written that they are animals. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong, man. Now, he ain't quoting any Bible verses in this video, but that's the mindset of Amalek, man. You know, he understands the significance of being Judah and Israel and the laws, statutes, and commandments, and he understands all of this. He understands what greatness, what power looks like. He understands that. He's not out here trying to be Ishmael, okay? He's not trying to be like Moab and Buddhist and Hindu or none of that shit. He understands this is where it is, man. He knows there's a God in Israel. He understands that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and setteth up over the bases of men. He understands all these things. Okay, that's why he's not acting like y'all. He wants Israel. He don't want Afghanistan. He don't want none of that shit, man. He wants to be in the land of Israel because whoever runs Israel runs the world. That's like you the king of the hill, man. The Lord allowed you to occupy that land. Pfft. Come on, man. You know he's feeling some type of power being over there. You know. And look at the benefits of it, man. He's the least of the flock, but yet he's every other nation. You got Egypt. Egypt don't like them. Saudi Arabia don't like them. None of these. Maybe the governments because they infiltrated all of them. But the people as a whole, they ain't fucking with them, man. Because they don't really belong there. They came in there in 1948 and have been nothing but trouble over there since they've been over there. Okay, and that's what he does. That's why I always go into Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, to never trust your enemy, man. But he knows what it is, man. You know, so when he sees us, you know, when he sees brothers on the highways and hedges, he know he got a short time left, man, because they starting to wake up. There's no way. They got all the money. They run the business. They run the federal government. Your Federal Reserve notes, he runs all of that. He prints the money, okay? And he put a lot of money into not letting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know who you are. He'll put everything. That's his worst nightmare, for you to get to know who you are. He don't give a fuck about. He don't care about anything else, man. That's most important. Is keeping you to be as dumb as you are. He likes you being as stupid, as dumb as you are today. You don't know the Bible. And if you do know the Bible, he wants you to be a reprobate like everyone else that go to church and shit like that. Docile and stupid. That's how he really wants you to be. He don't really want you. He wants you to think the Lord is a whole different. He wants you to think the Lord look like him. Okay. It says there is an explanation why they are. Hold on. That is what I want to understand. Hold on. Did I miss something? Hold on, be quiet. What does it say? I don't understand. it says you are called human. And the non-Jews are not called human. That is what is written. Now, he might be quoting out the Talmud, which is a Babylonian doctrine mixed up with different rabbis who interpreted and got their own interpretation, and then they try to cross-reference it with Bible scriptures to justify wickedness. That's all it is. It's a book full of, it's demonic, it's wicked as hell, man. Nowhere in the Bible are you gonna read about oral circumcisions. These devils, they practice that shit, man. Okay, and ain't no one coming up against them saying nothing about that. And if you willing to orally circumcise a baby, you willing to do anything else too. You'll eat dog shit. You'll do anything, man. You'll do anything. You'll murder millions of people, and without even a blink, you don't care. They don't think like you. Okay, they're fine with putting y'all to death. You're not even human in the eyes of them. And the non-Jews are not called human. And this is his fate, man. He tries to project, he knows this is, he knows, man. He knows it. It must hurt so badly, man. No matter how many niggas you kill and put to death and how many hangings you got, at the end of the day, the Lord still chose them. And you got to pay for all of it. All that blood you owe. Oh, man. Your blood gonna be shed too. Ooh. Run up the tab, man. Run it all the way up. Okay? Run it up. Because when we do come back, even the least of them, actually, for the first 1,000 years, I don't know exactly how everything's gonna be, but I know the elect, they're gonna get you back, man. They're gonna get you back, man. Starting with Yahweh Shai on down, they're gonna get you, man. And the non-Jews are not called human. That is what is written. Not called human. Hard for me to understand his accent.
Okay, אז מה קוראים להם? Okay, אז מה קוראים?
Adam. Okay, when you go to Genesis, I know I'm all over the place, but whatever. Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and the 7th verse. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. When you look into this word, man, it's
Strong's H120, Adam.
So that's what he's talking about. Okay? Mankind, human being. So this is what he's saying. All right, for you slow people out there. Where was I? I was over here.
אדם הוא בן אדם שהוא שונה מהבהמה. אדם הוא בן אדם
Adam is in the image of God. Okay? And when you read Genesis 2 and 7, he's telling you that he breathed into him, which is these laws, these laws, the statutes and commandments. It was, before it was written on tablets, it was in Adam. And when you read Genesis, the 4th chapter, it wasn't just Adam, like just one person, like, they teach. No, it's Genesis, the 5th chapter, Genesis 5 and 2. Male and female, I'll start at the top. Genesis 5 and 1. This is the book of the generations of Adam. Let's look at this word. Adam or Adam.
Strong's H121, Adam.
Okay. First man, city of Jordan, red. Etymology. Human being. Okay. So let me go back. This is the book of generations of Adam. In that day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. So this is what he's talking about, Genesis, the 5th chapter. Okay. But when you continue to read, it says male and female created he them and blessed them. Okay. Descendants of Adam. And called their name Adam. So this is plural. In the day when they were created. They. Multiple. Okay. So this is what he's talking about. So that breath, that life, the laws, statutes, and commandments, the understanding. So he's not lying. Human is in the name, in the image of God. Okay, so when you don't have this understanding, you're likened unto a beast. Okay? The majority of the people you see, they're likened unto beast. Do you understand that? Like, can you wrap your head around that the Lord ain't dealing with a lot of these people because they're likened unto beast? Okay? So they're not going to come into any knowledge. They're going to fall for the mark of the beast because that's what they are. Okay? So when we say we're not talking to you, we're not. Go enjoy your day. Go be a beast. And then here it is, the damn basis of men. He even understands that. And don't get it wrong, some of these people are actually true descendants of Israel. Okay, because of Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. So that don't mean you just go, everyone with a small hat, you go and fucking put them to death. That's not what I'm saying here. Okay, majority of them are from the different tribes of Esau, Amalek. Okay. So no one knows who is who until the Lord does the separation. But he's right. Human is in the image of God. He's talking about Adam. And he's not only just talking about Adam, he understands Genesis, the 5th chapter. So because he understands, because the majority of the world, Adam was just one person. So why would he be calling himself Adam? He's saying he was in the beginning? No, he actually understands the scriptures. Human is something that is different from animals. Exactly. I wonder how he got this knowledge. Who told him when it was passed down? So he knows who Amalek is. And he might truly believe he's Israel. But the difference is, you would be suffering the curses right now. You want to be suffering. You want to be, the Messiah's not here and you ruling before the Messiah comes to save you from your oppressor. Where's that at? He don't fit the scriptures. He knows it. He knows he don't fit it. He spends all this money, super cyber technology, the biggest, let me look it up. Is Israel the biggest cybersecurity network in the world? No, Israel is not the biggest cybersecurity network, but it is a global leader and one of the most significant hubs for cybersecurity innovation and investment, second only to the United States. Israel's strong performance is driven by its advanced technology sector, which is bolstered by expertise from its national security and military, leading to a large number of cybersecurity startups in a strong position in the global market. So Amalek's always watching. You know who he's watching? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He don't want you to wake up. But the nigga can't do anything. If you're righteous, the Lord gonna defend you, and he knows it. He sees it. He sees it. He knows who the Lord is dealing with. Because his wicked plans don't work against you. That's how you know the Lord be destroying these people, man. So that's why you got to thank the Lord all the time. He's always fighting for Israel. Even when you don't even know he's fighting, you think, no, he got you. No way in hell this devil would just go around just putting everyone to death. He can't do it. He can't. This damn devil, man, he pisses me off too, because the more you understand, the more you know. You know. Global leader Israel is recognized as a cybersecurity powerhouse with a leading position in the global landscape alongside the United States. It's saying U.S. is ahead of them. I don't even believe that. They're the head of it all. Okay, and I know with they don't want us knowing who we are. That's the most important thing. That's more important than what's going on in Ukraine, Gaza, peace deal, all that bullshit. All of it's bullshit if it's not about Israel. That's the only thing this devil is worried about. That's it. That's numero uno, is you. And he can't help it. That's because that's all he covets, to be you. He wants to be you so badly. So badly. Human is something that is different from animals. He even talks like a caveman in Hebrew. The word human refers to the image of God. Okay, image goes into being in order, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what makes you not a beast. So anyone telling you not to keep it, guess what? Look at him. He's like a dog. He's like a ram. He's like an animal you can sacrifice on an altar. People who are like that. Okay, they're here. They're natural brute beast made to be taken and destroyed. That's why the Lord allows them to, you can go kill his ass. Go see, he wants to be a rapper, let him be a rapper. Yep, you can kill him in the pancake house. He don't give a fuck about them. Excuse my language. Brute beast. I know it's in Corinthians, but I can't think of it. Brute beast. Of course. You can never get in the blue letter. Natural brute beast made to be taken and destroyed. KJV. Oh, it's a 2 Peter. I thought it was one in Corinthians. 2 Peter. 2 Peter 2, verse 12. But these is natural brute beasts made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Okay, now it's talking about false teachers, but at the same time, or people who are just, you can't get it. You can't get the truth, man. It's a lack of understanding. Let's look this up real quick. Describes false teachers as being like natural brute beasts that are driven by instinct and lacking reason, leading them to speak evil of things they don't understand. The verse emphasizes that these individuals are destined for destruction like animals that are made to be caught and destroyed. And that's why y'all get caught in the things you get caught in. Ultimately, it serves as a warning about the inevitable judgment for their corrupt teachings and actions. And you got a judgment for not receiving this truth, not being upright. And that's what the wicked here to do, to punish you for your wickedness. The word human refers to the image of God.
Okay.
He is the image of God.
Okay.
That is the meaning of human. We changed it, meaning the Jewish people changed it to acting more humane. You need to act like a human being. But in principle, it is based on God. I mean, it's very simple, man. They don't even operate under the law, statutes, and commandments. They do, in a lot of ways, they do keep the Sabbath. They recognize it from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, like a lot of you Israelites do. But that's because that's what they do. Okay, the Spirit should be guiding you into all the truth, man. There was never no Saturday and Friday in the Bible. So how would they know what was Friday, what was Saturday? They did it according to the moon. Okay, so this is why the natural brute beast, man. I mean, Israel's doing the best they can. Some brothers, I used to do Friday to Saturday, but then after a while, as you keep studying and learning, and it doesn't make any sense. So why would you continue to walk in darkness if the light was given to you? And the Lord having mercy on you, why wouldn't you strive to keep, and I still don't even do the Sabbath right. Some weeks I can't even, it's hard to keep the Sabbath, man. Okay, but you practice. It's all about practice, man. It's not easy. Sometimes it's double Sabbaths. So it gets hard. But the point of it isn't to try to be righteous according to keeping all the Sabbaths and all that. It's practicing the righteous acts, man. It's being in a repentant state. It's seeking the Lord 10 times more now that he may be found. And he reveals these things unto you. So that's being righteous. That's being not likened unto a beast. There's even animals that keep the Sabbath, man. Insects and creation that actually keeps the Sabbath based on the moon. So bugs are keeping the Sabbath, man. Bees and just weird stuff, man. Weird things, man. And you're like, damn, everything else, there's a lot of things in order, and it's not Israel. Israel's fully out of order, and they want to keep it that way. Because as long as they can keep you out of order, they can be wicked as hell and rule on the earth. But when you start growing your beard, not caring about what society feels like, and stop following the precepts of men, and start being a man according to what the Lord has revealed unto you, hey, man, guess what? Their kingdom gets destroyed as you get in order. You can't have some heathen say, they don't even say the Lord's name right. They speak all the Hebrew and they call the Lord Hashem. Foolishness. Okay? And ultimately the Lord's going to manifest to them that they themselves are beasts too. when he brings them down to a very low state like he did King Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel, the 4th chapter. And people are based on God because we are in his image. But we read in Genesis 2:7, he made Adam out of the dust of the ground. Does the dust of the ground look like him? No, it doesn't. Okay, the dust of the ground is brown, the dirt. Okay, that's what the Lord made man out of. Okay, and we return back to the dust. He's bearing the mark of Cain. Okay, for the sins of the garden, the serpent, the garden, killing Abel. That's who the wicked is, man. It's the same spirit being reused in this time. So he called us human. The non-Jews are, God made them so they will serve the Jews. And that's what y'all supposed to be doing. But not just the Jews, okay? Jews is like, that's not even a, you hear Jews, Jew, and you think of him. Okay? It's the tribe of Judah. Okay? Or the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom of Judah, which represents Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. But that just says Jew, and they love, it's like pick what Israelite you want to be. Because it's like Israel, when you're a kid, you pick a Superman or whatever, Batman or whatever. That's what they're doing with the tribes. Nah, I'm Judah. Yeah, no, you're Levi. I'm Benji. Hell out of here, man. But the thing is, a lot of people get confused about that. But you gotta know who you are in these last days, man. Very important. Because there's a lot of those principalities, man. They putting money on spiritual things, man. Look at what they're teaching in your schools. All of it is because they don't want you to know who you are. They want you twisted and demented to the point where there's no way in hell. The only way you'll find the Lord is if the Lord he got to be dealing with you. That's the only way. There's no other way for you to get this truth. Okay, and he made it where you look at so-called black, Latino, and Native American men like they're the scum of the earth, and that's how the Lord wants it to be, so you can be rejected. So you can be destroyed because you don't see the value in what in his people, and you're not supposed to, because it's not for you, because you're probably a beast. You don't understand spiritual things. You look at the carnal things. You look on the outside of things. Your mind is of this world, so you can't discern between spiritual things. Your scriptures talk about being spiritually discerned. But at the same time, that lack of spiritual discernment is going to be the reason why you get destroyed. Showing you that you're just a natural, brute beast made to be taken and destroyed. And he's going to show you that. He's going to put a chip in you. He's going to have you say you want it too. The Lord's ill like that, man. You're going to know that you're a beast. You're going to know that there's a God in Israel, man. You're going to see the light. You're going to understand the significance of all this work that brothers were doing. You're going to finally see it. And when it manifests itself, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. You're going to be looking at the Son of God, and he going to kill your ass. Okay? You ain't going to want to see that, man. It's going to be a terrible sight. You're going to be absolutely you're not even going to rejoice when you see it, because you're going to know. When your father comes home and you got a bad report card, that's kind of like what it's going to be like. You coming home with your report card on report card day with all F's. and you got an austere father, he's going to whip your ass, man. And that's what the Lord's going to do. He's going to beat you to powder, though. And he's saying that's what these other nations, the non-Jews, they're here to do what? Serve the Jews, serve the Israelites. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Yeah, I got to agree with the devil when he's right, man. The scriptures talk about the devil knows the truth. The devil knows the truth. KJV. No. The devil. I can't think of the precept. It's something along the lines of not John 8:44, not Matthew 4:1. No, not 1 Peter 5:8. Not John 8:7. Or is it demons? No. No, James 2:19. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. That's right. Explain this. This verse is used to illustrate that belief alone is not enough to demonstrate saving faith. True faith, unlike the demons, intellectual assent results in works and a changed life. The point of the verse is part of a larger argument in James. The point of the verse is part of a larger argument in James 2 about the nature of faith, intellectual assent versus saving faith. The verse shows that even demons have an intellectual belief that God is one, but this knowledge does not save them. Faith and works, the verse emphasizes that a faith that is not accompanied by good works is a dead, useless faith, in contrast to the living faith of a true believer. Yeah, but it also means the devils know that there's a God, man. Okay, and this is a clear example that they know what God is real. Okay, they know that Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, they've seen the writing on the wall. They understand how the Spirit works. Okay, and they tremble. That's what it says. And tremble. They scared of the Lord, man. All the non-Jews that you see, all around the world, the billions, they exist just for the Jews' benefit. And that's what he's saying. He's absolutely right. Well, he's wrong because he's just saying Jews, but you got to understand. Okay? He's talking about Israelites. Okay, actually, second Esdras 6. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid. Now this is I'm reading out of a book that they took out of the Bible, man. They took it out of the 1611. They only gave you the New and the Old Testament, and they told you this book wasn't part of it. And y'all believe that. Hence another reason why you're a beast. Before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before innumerable multitudes of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot, and were the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. So this is even talking about before the elect of Israel. when it was just the Most High. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone and through none other. By me also shall be entered in by none other. Okay. So the Lord, this is what he wanted to happen, to give this all to Israel. I'm thinking of another precept, as a matter of fact. Deuteronomy 32. And verse 1, give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord Yahweh, ascribe ye greatness unto our God. He is the rock, his work is perfect. For all his ways of judgment, a God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he thy father that have brought thee, that he not made thee? Have he not made thee and established thee? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, going into your land, your custom, your wisdom, your knowledge, all of that, it were divided in those areas. When he separated the sons of Adam, we all go back to Adam through Noah. Because after the flood, you had Adam, you had Noah, Salakia, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, and we all are descendants of them. He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Okay, Israel came through Shem. Okay, and he gave that land to Israel. Israel, not Jew, not Jewish, Israel. Okay, and the descendants of the children of Israel. Israel is a people before it's a place, or Israel is a person before it's a land. Okay, and he when he was thinking about these things, he gave him the choicest land. He calls it a land filled with milk and honey. Okay, for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Okay. So, Jacob is the Lord's inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. And that's talking about Israel. Ecclesiasticus 24. And 1, wisdom shall praise herself and shall glory in the midst of her people, talking about the Israelites. In the congregation of the Most High shall she open her mouth and triumph before his power. I came out of the mouth of the Most High and covered the earth as a cloud. I dwelt in high places, and my throne is in a cloudy pillar. I alone compassed the circuit of heaven and walked in the bottom of the deep. In the waves of the sea and all the earth, and in every people and nation, I got a possession. So wisdom dwells in everything. With all these I sought rest, and in whose inheritance shall I abide. So the Creator of all things gave me a commandment, and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel. So we were given this wisdom. That's what makes, he says, Adam. So, they were the Adamites. They were then the sons of God. They're Yasharallah. Okay. That's who that's talking about. So wisdom, this wisdom that came out of the mouth of the Most High, and that, according to Genesis 2:7, that breath that went into Adam, which we know is the Adamites, is this wisdom that I'm reading about. Ecclesiastes 24, verse 9, he created me from the beginning before the world, and I shall never fail. In the holy tabernacle I served before him, and so was I established in Zion. Likewise in the beloved city he gave me rest, and in Jerusalem was my power. And I took root in an honorable people, even in the portion of the Lord's inheritance. And who's the Lord's inheritance? Deuteronomy 32, Jacob. I was exalted like a cedar in Libanus. Libanus is Lebanon. And as a cypress tree upon the mountains of Hermon. I was exalted like a palm tree in Engadi, and as a rose plant in Jericho, as a fair olive tree in a pleasant field, and grew up as a plant, as a plane tree by the water. I gave a sweet smell like cinnamon and asclepias, and I yielded a pleasant odor like the best myrrh, as galbanum and onyx and sweet storax, and as the sum of frankincense in the tabernacle. So that's what this wisdom does. It gives you a great smell good to the Lord. Okay? When you have the right understanding of the scriptures, and when you're occupied in these things, which is another good precept that goes with Esther, the 2nd chapter. Because that's what she did. She was bathing in these oils, which is just like what we're doing before we go and meet the king. Esther chapter 2 and verse 12. Now when every maid's turn was to come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the woman, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the woman. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the woman unto the king's house. So that's for a heathen king. How much more for the Most High God and His Son? So it's showing you, this is what that's the heathen king, and that's what he wanted. He wanted the carnal myrrh and all that, but the Lord's looking at your spirit, and if you're occupied in prophecy and doing these things, you're doing the same thing as Esther is doing, but spiritually. As the turpentine tree, I stretched out my branches, and my branches are the branches of honor and grace. As the vine brought I forth pleasant savor, and my flowers are the fruit of honor and riches. There's so much, but it just keeps going now. Let me jump down. Sirach 24 and 23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregation of Jacob. Okay, the law, statutes, and commandments were given into Israel. Okay, so that's the part of the breath of life that separates us from the rest of these nations. If you don't understand that, it's because you're a beast. This is very simple. You don't get it, who cares, man? I don't care. You're not supposed to get it, man. Faint not to be strong in the Lord, that he may confirm you. Cleave unto him, for the Lord Almighty is God alone, and besides him there is no other Savior. So we understand that. It says cleave unto him. That's what we doing. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. You said a lot of people think in this world, God loves everybody. Well, this is saying he will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. The same people that disobeyed him, broke the covenants, and went off being wicked, kingdom was split in two. He gonna bring them together. He gonna choose them again. He gonna have mercy on them and set them in their own land, just like everyone was given an inheritance. He said he's gonna set them in their own land. These 48ers weren't set in their own land by the Lord. Okay? And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. We're the strangers being joined with them, okay, which is the house of Jacob, man. Okay? Jacob and Israel, which is the 12 tribes all together. We're the strangers, we're the Gentiles cleaving unto the house of Jacob. We're saying we're the Israelites through this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, our spirit bearing witness with the spirit of this book. Spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And that's why nobody out, no other nations doing that. All these temples and chapels and different denominations and doctrines, none of them are claiming to be Israel. Why? Because they lack understanding. And the Lord ain't impute them with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to wake them up. It's not for everybody. You can go to school, you can do whatever you want. If he don't give you the spirit, you won't understand these scriptures and you won't believe. They exist just for the Jews' benefit. Talking about you other nations, and he's right. It's a lot. He's right. He's 100% right, including him. He's not exempt. Psalms 2:8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And he gonna get dashed too, to pieces like a potter's vessel. Claiming something that he's not. We don't see it, so we don't know exactly. Today we are still in exile. You still in it looked like you in Israel right there as you're speaking. And then he's right. The Israelites are in exile. We're exiled out of that land. The Lord never restored us. We read it in Isaiah 14:1, that he'll bring you back into Israel. Okay. He took down the southern kingdom, he took down the northern kingdom. And we're exiled under the heathen. The only ones that's going to be occupying that land are the heathen. According to the book of Luke 21, I think 24 or something like that. So there was a time that was prophesied that the heathen were going to rule, and this is the time. Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And he's a Gentile fulfilling that prophecy. Amalek. And the rest of this other nations, Hamites in that land, claiming to be from different tribes of Israel. But then you look at them, they still think they bear the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, they don't got no damn Ark of the Covenant. That's number one. They pray to the so-called white man, Jesus Christ, and they don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They don't fulfill prophecy. The curses in Deuteronomy 28 don't fit them. And ultimately, Esau is using the heathen as just a way to offset prophecy. Probably take their money. Whatever he's doing, it ain't for nothing good, man. It's either to offset prophecy or make it seem like, well, yes, some of us are black. Look at these heathen right here. These Ethiopians over here. They're in the land. They're our brothers. And they treat them like shit because they know they're nothing but heathen too. Zephaniah 2:12, ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword. Okay, I want to see y'all do that, because you're heathen. Zephaniah 2 verse 12 announces God's judgments against the Cushites, or Ethiopians, who lived to the south of Judah. The prophecy emphasizes that no nation, no matter how distant or powerful, is exempt from God's sovereign authority and righteous standards. Why? You were coming up against Israel, Cushites. You also, O Cushites, the Hebrew word Cushi refers to the people of Cush, a region along the upper Nile River corresponding to parts of modern Sudan and northern Ethiopia. By addressing the Cushites, Zephaniah demonstrates the universal scope of God's judgment, extending it to the southernmost nation known to Judah at the time. The word also emphasizes that their fate is the same as the other nations facing judgment in the preceding verses. Fulfillment of prophecy. The prophet likely referred to the future invasion of the Babylonian army under King Nebuchadnezzar, which conquered nations in the region, including Egypt and its southern ally Cush. He destroyed you then, he's going to destroy your ass again, because you're fulfilling Luke 21 and 24. So he's right. We are in exile. We are in exile. He's right. I agree with him. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And that's what you do. You're scattered and you're worshiping other gods. More prominently, Christianity and Islam. And he wants to keep it like that. Y'all worship that while he continues to be who you really truly are. He got all these, he's the one who the Lord is using to implement these curses upon us. That's why he got all types of hexagrams and shit like that, putting hexes on you. And I'm talking about the elites. I ain't talking about every small hat. Okay, every small hat. I don't know what every small hat does. Some of them, they don't even like these other small hats. They got their own, belief system. Some of them, they love Ishmael. But not everyone knows the truth. Okay, a lot of them think they are exactly what they were taught. Our fathers have inherited lies. Jeremiah 16, verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity in things wherein there is no profit. Okay, so that's what they inherited. Lies. This is what their fathers told them. Yeah, you're the children of God. Yeah, Moses looked just like you. Yeah, he had a big fucking nose, just like you had sausage on your face. And he wore a black hat, too. Yeah. And a white shirt and all black, just like you. Yeah, he looked just as dumb as your ass. Yep. Oh, I knew I was great. And you're going to know when the Lord beams up his elect. You're going to know you're going to know when the Lord reveals it to you. How about that? Most importantly, they're already starting to figure this out, slowly but surely. The more these afflictions come to pass, the more these words are starting to resonate with other nations. They're going to look at a brother's channel. He going to have thousands of videos talking about this dude's downfall. And he can go back 2-3 years and see like, wow, this dude's been consistently prophesying my downfall. That's when he's gonna know. Because now we're starting to see Isaiah the 24th chapter starting to manifest itself. People don't want the mirth of the land is gone. So the only thing that's gonna really be vibrating is this word. Okay, that's the only thing that's gonna be. People gonna have their ears. This is the only song that's gonna remain as the ship's going down. This is what's gonna be playing in their heads as the Titanic gets split into two and bottoms out. So automatically they don't yet serve us completely. He's talking about the heathen. Only partially. Okay. So he understands that there's slavery. But he don't know it's him though. That's the beauty of it all. Isaiah 2:1, a word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And nobody teaching the law. People go there, they put notes in the Wailing Wall, but they're not teaching them about the law. It doesn't benefit Amalek to teach you about the law. Because if you guys knew the law, you would know he's the wicked and he breaks every single law. You got a whole nother nation inside the land worshiping a whole other God. According to the Bible, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to destroy their altars. Now he's destroying their altars, but he about to rebuild all that shit in his image. He's gonna start chipping you up like beasts while you dancing and happy that he stopped the demolitions done for the construction that he's about to do. And then he told not a Jew. That's a whole different situation. I was gonna do a video on that, but I wanted to look up some more. That's a whole different situation. But anyways.
But okay.
Yeah, he said they're only serving him partially. Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So the people that he's talking about ruling over did not oppress him. He's the oppressor. Right? So he don't fit these prophecies. This is a taunt for Israel. People who are actually being oppressed, those are the Israelites who are going to rule over their oppressors. But he don't know that. Each one of us will have, when the Messiah will come, each one of us will have thousands, hundreds, 2,800 slaves, they think. Oh, that's what you think, Amalek? Oh, man. Looking like Santa Claus. Yo, man, 2,800? Shit. It says Psalm 2:8. Asking me, and I'll give you the heathen for an inheritance. Okay, so the Lord's all right with slavery. For servants and handmaids, the Lord said. Okay. So slavery isn't inherently bad. You know, especially for the heathen. You're actually the Lord's inheritance. Israel's inheritance. And you're going to love it because that's what you were created to do. to serve Yasharallah. You serving Esau right now, and you ain't got. I don't know. I don't get it. How you don't know you're serving Esau? Like his money's on. His face is on the money. I mean, it's clear. 2,800 slaves this devil wants, he says. In the meantime, the Messiah is not here. So what are you doing in the land if he's the one that's supposed to be bringing you over there? That's what I'm confused about. But that connection, they ain't make the connection yet, because they were constantly told that you're the people. You know, when you read the Bible, you know, it got all this property. Every movie you see, not one black person in sight. Okay, so he knows what he's doing. So how do they serve us now? They build us cars. We don't know. Apartments, buildings. They do everything. Who do they build for? Us. They serve the Jews. So he's mixed. He don't know where he's at in prophecy. So you're in exile, he's saying, but your exile being served by, what are you talking about, man? Showing you these, you don't fit. You don't fit it, man. All right. But I'm going to end it right there. Lord's will, this is edifying. Shalom.